Biz balonda mıyız şu anda?
Good morning, everyone. The film begins with Ashley, the author of the website Love Tactics and a famous fashion designer, and all those who deal with her testify that she is an excellent girl. In the next scene we see in front of us the advertising genius called Karam, as he would convince some customers of a new advertising campaign on cosmetics, and the idea impressed the customers, and they agreed with Karam on a new campaign. We return to Ashley, who went to sit with her friends after finishing work, where Handy was in a state of depression because her lover abandoned her and ignored her. Ashley tries to convince Handy to stop thinking about his lover because he is a pathetic and boring person and wants someone else to intervene in his life to make him pay for what he did with his friend Handy. At night, Ashley tries to write an article on the site of Love Tactics for Girls where she tries to encourage them to control themselves and not wait for the handsome prince. A girl questions Ashley about the effectiveness of her advice in attracting men and making them fall in love. Ashley responds by saying that she tries to share a practical experience with them in the next article to prove to them that she can trap anyone in her love nets. The next day, Karam discovers that his manager at work charged his friend Tana with an ad campaign that Karam was tired of preparing. Then the manager asked him to focus on the cosmetics campaign he was going to lose because of his ego. Karam goes to Tana's office and finds their friend Amir with him, who tells Karam that Tana's girlfriend abandoned him and that he is very sad because he broke up with her. Then both started to mock Amir. Karam was arrogant because he felt that he understood everything about girls and trusted him and told them that the easiest thing in his life was to make any girl fall in love with him. Amir challenges Karam and asks him to prove the veracity of his words and makes a bet with him that a girl will fall in love with him, and if Karam wins the bet, Amir must abandon the advertising campaign in Karam's favor. We turn to Ashley, who talks with her friends about the subject of her next article, because she will post the news of a man falling in love with her on the site, and there will be no harm to Ashley because no one knows she is the author of the site except her friends. Ashley starts talking to her friends about the guy she wants to fall in love with, and meanwhile, Karam also talks to her friends about the character girls prefer in a guy and how he uses it to attract girls by its beauty and appearance. At night, Karam goes with his friends to a party in order to respect the agreement between them and asks them to choose the girl they want Karam to fall in love with, and the friends choose Ashley, and at the same time, Ashley's girlfriend, who is called Gansu, chooses Karam in the game. Ashley goes for a drink and one of the clients tries to get to know her, but Ashley tries to reject him. Then Karam intervenes between them and pretends to know Ashley so that the client turns away from her. Karam tries to get to know Ashley and then takes her to introduce her to her friends and offers to bring her friends to sit with them, but Ashley apologizes to him and then returns to her friends, who think she has changed her words. Ashley tells her friends that Karam will try to catch up with her, and indeed, Karam goes to Ashley and offers her the drink she deliberately forgot, then goes back to her friends, and after a while, Tana will get to know Gansu, and once the party is over, Ashley goes with his friends and Karam assures his friends that he will find her again. The next day, Ashley accesses Karam's Instagram account and discovers that he follows many girls, and Karam in turn discovers through Ashley's account that she is an introvert and a famous fashion designer. After that, the secretary comes to see Ashley and tells him that his manager, Mr. Hakan, asks him to go to the show to meet the new partner of the company and discuss with him the promotion of the brand, and he insisted on his presence because it is mentioned in the contract. Ashley agreed to go to the exhibition, but she was thinking about meeting Karam, and in the meantime, Amir was trying to convince Karam to go to the same exhibition together to discuss selling the brand. At night, Karam and Amir go to the exhibition where Ashley was also present, but he doesn't pay attention to his presence because he was talking with Mr. Lewis. Manager Hakan asks Ashley to get to know Mr. Lewis, and when she approaches him, Ashley collides with Karam and the drink falls out of his hand, and because of the embarrassment, Ashley leaves the scene. Karam also leaves the exhibition because he saw a girl he knows, then goes with Ashley into the same taxi and tells her there are only two options for her: to go together, or for Asli to go get another taxi, and Asli agrees to go with him. After that, the two arrive at a restaurant and Asli discovers that Karam is known in the restaurant, and so she jokes with him saying that Karam is sure to invite many girls with him to the restaurant. After sitting at the dinner table, Asli merges with the team that was playing music and Karam notices it and then tries to call one of the players without Asli noticing, and when he arrives, Asli laughs because she discovers that the player knows Karam, who denies it and was embarrassed in front of her. Asli is surprised by some girls who believe in Karam's turn and fall in love with him, and it seems that Karam is very angry, and after the evening, Karam takes Asli to her house, and after getting out of the taxi, Asli deliberately forgets his headscarf in the car and Karam discovers the thing because Asli wanted to see him again. After that, Karam tells his friends that he met by chance Asli, who at the time was writing an article about meeting the person she was trying to exploit in the challenge, and wrote about the trick he uses in the restaurant to seduce any girl, and Karam in turn continues to talk to his friends about Asli's vanity and tells them that she likes him but hides it. The next day, Asli assures her friends that Karam will come to see her to return the scarf she left in the taxi, and suddenly a representative knocks on the door and hands Asli a box with a scarf. Asli and Karam have been looking at the phone all day waiting for a call from each other in vain, and suddenly, the secretary calls Asli and asks him to go to another country to meet their partners, and Karam also receives a call from his manager who asks him to go to the same place. On the plane, Karam is surprised to have Asli next to him and discovers that she is going on a business trip, and moments later, Asli picks up the phone and writes in the article that Karam is sitting next to her on the plane and she thought he had caught up with her, and Karam questions her about the secret of the coincidences that occur between them, then laughs when he discovers that she thinks he has caught up with her. The two arrive and are greeted by a driver with a single sign with their name written on it together. Then the driver takes them to the person believed to have come to meet him, who is called Tuvan, who receives them together but ignores Karam and accompanies Asli, who arrives in his room. Asli and Karam discover that they arrived to meet the same person. Asli realizes that Karam is jealous of Tuvan, so she decides to use it to increase Karam's interest for her. Karam and Asli go to meet Tuvan, who was interested in her, and then introduces her daughter Milton. Karam is surprised when he sees her because he knows she is the manager of the brand Tuvan bought, and after a while everyone sits down for dinner together. Tuvan was kind to Asli and ignored Karam, and it seems Milton had a crush on Karam and started to be drawn to him. Asli thought Milton's attraction to Karam was just a trick on her part to make her jealous. Then she writes on the site that she challenges Karam in the game to feel jealous first until the end of the night. Karam was concentrating with Asli when he saw Tuvan trying to get closer to her. Then he went to sit with them and asked the waiter to bring alcoholic beverages and challenged Tuvan to drink until Milton and Tuvan were tired of drinking a lot. Karam asks Asli to choose between staying with Tufan and Milton and bringing them home or going with him and leaving. Karam meets his close friend named Sammy, then his mother named Stevens went out and asked Karam and Asli to sit with them. Stevens tells Asli that Karam was born and raised with them until he entered university. Then she brought a photo of Karam with his father 2 years before his death. But Karam leaves after hearing his father's biography, and Asli is surprised by his reaction. Stevens tells Asli that the subject is sensitive for him and Karam's mother is still alive but left him when he was 10 years old. Asli enters Karam's room where pottery is kept, then looks at the objects Karam made, which offers to try to make pottery herself. Asli is attracted to Karam during the experiment. After leaving the room, Karam asks Asli to close her eyes and then climbs with her in a balloon with her eyes closed. Then Asli discovers that she flies into the sky and then screams because of a fit of fear because she is afraid of the high places. But Karam can calm her down and asks her to close her eyes again so that she is not afraid. After being reassured, Asli opens her eyes without being afraid and began to appreciate the view, and after going down, Asli thanks Karam for the surprise because she enjoyed despite her feeling of fear, and then the journey between them ends. Back home, Karam talks to his friends about the trip and how to get rid of Milton miraculously. Tana laughs because of reading something on the phone. Then he talks to them about the blog Love Tactics and the latest article that talks about a girl trying to take advantage of someone, and he doesn't know that it was Ashley who posted it, and the person she talks about on the blog is Karam. Tuna advises Karam to follow the blog to find out what happened with the person so as not to be exposed to the same mistakes, and meanwhile, Ashley was writing in the article about the first time she discovered that the person she had met was herself without deception, and suddenly a girl asks Ashley if she had fallen in love with this person trying to deceive him, but Ashley stops the device and does not answer the question. At night, Ashley receives a message from Karam inviting him into the message for dinner, but Ashley does not respond and ignores it, and 1 hour later Ashley responds to the message and agrees to go to his house for dinner. Ashley goes to the scheduled appointments and writes everything that happens between her and Karam in the article, while she waits for him to confess to falling in love with her. But Karam sits down and offers to watch a movie, and Ashley discovers that it is his favorite movie. After the film ends, Ashley asks Karam if he does the same with all the girls he knows and asks him to tell him everything about himself. Karam told Ashley that the piano in his house belonged to his mother and that no one has been able to touch it since she left, and that he is unable to get rid of it because he always remembers his mother because of him, and he feels that touching the piano means that he indirectly forgives his mother. Then he sleeps, and when he wakes up, he finds Ashley playing the piano and then tries to play with her. The next day, Ashley talks to her friends about what happened between her and Karam. Sunja tells Ashley that half of the girls in Turkey are following her article and want to know what happened last night, and suddenly Ashley tells her friends that she no longer wants to finish the game. Handy asks to see Karam's photo, and after seeing the photo, Handy is shocked and tells Ashley that Karam is the same person she knew and abandoned her and ignored her. Then Ashley tells her she was stupid because she trusted Karam. Then she apologizes to Handy and promises revenge on Karam. At night, Ashley goes to meet Karam and then tries to film a live show for followers without paying attention to Karam, who started telling him that he hadn't fallen in love his whole life because he didn't believe in him, but after seeing Ashley, he fell in love with her. The live stream goes viral, and after Karam confesses to his love, Ashley reveals the game to him and tells him that she was exploiting it and that all his feelings for him were a lie and that everything that happened between them was published in the blog. Then she starts filming Karam to take revenge on him for all the girls who felt hurt because of the guys, and then she leaves the scene. After that, Karam falls into a state of depression, and one day, the manager calls Ashley to his office and tells him that she has been fired from the company, and meanwhile, Karam is surprised by the arrival of Milton, who offers to accompany him to London to work with her and promises to take revenge on Ashley for her actions, because she is the one who ordered the manager to fire her from work. After a while, manager Hakan goes back to Ashley and asks him to go back to work, but she refuses, and when she meets her friends, she finds Amir and Tana with them, who tells her that Karam discovered that Milton was the one who planned to fire her from work, and for this reason, Karam agreed to work with Milton on the condition that Ashley be reinstated in his work. Amir told Ashley that Karam is on the plane that will leave in 2 hours. Ashley rushes to the airport but notices that the road is crowded, then asks someone who was next to her to accompany him to the airport on his motorcycle. After arriving, Ashley quickly runs to catch up with Karam and discovers that her friend booked her a ticket on the same plane as Karam, who was known to airport staff because of the live broadcast. On the plane, Karam sees in the blog that Ashley tells all followers that she will delete the blog and confesses to falling in love with Karam and regretting everything that happened between them. Karam decides to get off the plane despite the refusal of the flight attendant. Then he catches up with Ashley and confesses his love, and at the end of the film, the security men arrest Karam and Ashley and they are happy to get back together.